it's easy to quit. It's more about the courage of like having that gut to continue. I can just always quit my job and do like working at somewhere that's more stable, but I decide not to because I want to pursue this dream because I feel like I can be successful in it, and I feel like I can show like California or America what Japanese pastry is, and I want to show what I learned in Japan. My name is Ivan Koshu. Currently, I am professionalizing in culinary arts, especially in pastry. My parents own a Japanese restaurant, a Japanese sushi restaurant. I was sick of eating sushi, so that's when I started like doing something opposite. It's still cooking, but I've always had the passion to cook, but I always wanted to do it in a different field. That's when I started baking pretty much. If I pour in the syrup too quickly, then it's going to be splashing even more, and it's going to be a mess. So that's why I like to keep this wrap around it. So it will be flying a little bit, but it helps prevent it to like spill everywhere. I've always went to Japan every summer to go visit my relatives. I remember they buying us like Japanese pastry, like shortcakes, cream puffs, chocolate cakes. It was just something different and unique about it, which kind of pulled me into this industry. So that's when I started to pursue pastry in Japan. My first job was in Japan was like a really famous world champion pastry chef, which I realized after I applied there. I only applied there first because the cakes was really good. It was like super simple, but it's still like modern and unique at the same time. And I wanted to work there. And my knowledge wise, I just wanted to work there for a couple years, maybe 2 years the most, and probably just go back to America. In the beginning, the first 3 years, I remember just doing valet parking, like saying hello to the customers in front of the door during summertime and wintertime when it's like super cold and super hot. But I remember my chef would be telling me like, don't look sad, or like, don't have a sad face when you greet people, because that's like the face of the shop pretty much. So look happy. Which didn't really make sense because I was like miserable out there. I'm not learning anything out there. That really stressed me out, but at the same time, it really kind of gave me like the courage. I want to learn from this guy. I want to get better. I want to learn everything what I can since I'm in Japan. I have to make this in advance because if I put hot caramel in here, the whole cake will melt. So that's why it has to be frozen in advance. Even though it's still frozen, it's still like kind of soft. So by the time it's at its perfect temperature, it'll have that nice silky texture to it. After living there for 10 years, it wasn't really what I expected. It was something different. The work-life balance in general was, in Asia, it's not really like normal compared to over here, I would say. Working there over 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, especially in my industry. The food industry is always really hectic. It's always constantly busy. It's really stressful, which I didn't know about. So it was really hard for me to adjust first, but there's always something to learn wherever I go. So it was a good experience for me. But yeah, I do like remember whenever I watched something, I was like working my ass off at the pastry shop. People would be just like throwing in all these dishes. Once I thought I'm like finally done, my coworker would be like waiting until I finish, and then once I finish, he just tosses it in there. To me, I like to target more on like people that understands the elegance of pastries. I would say a small portion of group that experienced the world knows the real taste of like pastry. I like to incorporate Japanese ingredients as well. So not too sweet, not too sour. It's really balanced out. It also has texture, something like interesting in their mouth when they eat it. So I'm gonna wipe it down and I'm just gonna glaze it. This is like the best part of my day. I like to glaze it because it's like satisfying to watch. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of vanilla glaze to it. And creates that little effect. And I freeze it. For me, whenever I create something, I like to have each cake with a thought in it. So like a thought or a story to it. So here's a matcha sponge I made beforehand. Let's see. So this matcha sponge gives it like that little moss texture. Because what I feel like when you go to Japan and you go to like those green gardens, Japanese gardens, it always has like that little moss texture. When somebody receives a cake on their birthday or something like an anniversary, it means a lot to them. It creates that memory, a moment that they really won't forget. I want them to experience the meaning of omoi. Omoi means to be thoughtful because every cake has a meaning to it. Whenever somebody receives it, it's something meaningful. I like to talk with each customers, knowing how they feel about receiving that cake, or once they eat it, when I get the feedback from them. That's one of my best feeling when people compliment it, giving me feedback, saying like your cake was really good, everybody loved it. We finished it. My parents loved it. They don't even like sweets, but they finished it. We're looking forward from like ordering from you again. I guess that's my most happiness, I guess. So whenever I like to visualize how it's gonna look before I finish it. I personally didn't feel like I was growing in America, so I wanted to go out there on my own and learn something and come back with it. There's always days and like time, like what am I doing? But at the end, once I came back, I realized it was a really plus to my life. I would say it's more of like the experience that you're getting. No matter what people tell you, just do what you love and don't give up.